Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today I want to talk Rugby World Rankings, taking a current look at the rankings, what it means for the Rugby World Cup seedings, and just a couple different possibilities and who could still qualify. So please like, subscribe, it really does help the channel grow, and let's get into it. So, as you can see, South Africa are currently sitting first with 92.20 points after the Argentina games. Now, what has happened because of this, Argentina has dropped by 0.58 points, still keeping them in 6th, whereas Australia, after they ended up losing to the All Blacks, they lost by 0.74 points, and South Africa and New Zealand respectively gaining those points that were lost. So there is still, the usual gaps in between 1, 2, and 3. Ireland, they did swap a little bit here and there, especially when South Africa and New Zealand ended up playing. But they are, it's pretty much going into this, we are currently in the same positions that what we were prior to the Rugby Championship. And with the November tests coming up in just a couple of weeks, we're already in October, which is absolutely crazy to say. There can still be some changes, right? South Africa are still due to play Ireland. They are still due to play France. So it's definitely going to be a big change in terms of that. If either France or Ireland, or maybe even both, manage to take points off of South Africa, we could see a completely different rugby rankings by the end of the year. So the only changes has been with Australia and Argentina post Rugby Championship, because I do believe Argentina came in 7th and Australia in 6th. That has swapped, but otherwise, we've had some phenomenal performances. We really, really have. And the November tests are going to be interesting, because this is where we're going to see a lot change. This is where we're going to be seeing the most change, especially in the top tiers, right? Because of the games that New Zealand are going to have, because of the games that South Africa are going to have. Now, Wales are still kind of keeping their 2nd seed. So I believe it's number 1 to 6, where Argentina are still maintaining that top seed. And then 6 to 12 is 2nd seed, and then so on and so forth. So Wales are still in a 2nd seeding position. Hopefully they might be able to get a couple wins out of the November tests. It's going to be very, very difficult. And I do believe they are going to be playing Japan, which is just, they fighting. They are there fighting. Samoa, I think Samoa are still due to qualify. I think they still have one more chance. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It would be amazing to have Samoa in the Rugby World Cup. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of chopping and changing. And if Wales can put in a couple good performances, Wales, they now have Steve Tandy. They're ready. They have reshaped back, bigger, stockier, much more of a physical presence. And then you also have, a whole load of elite players. Yes, they are nowhere even near what they used to be, and they definitely need a lot more depth, but it's promising. I like the movements that they are making. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play, right? Because they definitely seem like they have a little bit more bite than what they did under previous management. So yeah, Gatlin just wasn't for them. He just wasn't for them. Things just didn't go well. But I have a lot of hope for Steve Tandy here. But with looking at it, with a couple good performances, we could see France and England swap spots, maybe even take a bit of points on Ireland as well, depending on how Ireland play. You got to think a lot of the Northern Hemisphere teams, they haven't exactly had that much playtime together, right? Especially with the Lions tour. A lot of Englishmen, a lot of Irishmen are out, right? Same thing with the Scottish. They still on leave. So by the time that they come back, it's not exactly going to be much time for everybody to kind of get back together, get back game ready. Whereas a lot of the Southern Hemisphere teams, they've gone through their tours. New Zealand had their tour of, France had their tour of New Zealand, but pretty much all of France's team was a B, C, and a D team. And then you had the Rugby Championship, which just finished, and that's pure Southern Hemisphere rugby. So all of these Southern Hemisphere teams, they're raring to go. They've been playing elite rugby. They've been on the ball, right? So they have the recent exposure. They are game ready. Whereas a lot of the Northern Hemisphere teams are not ready, at least not their first team, right? A team that they can effectively put up against someone like South Africa or New Zealand, that they can say, yes, we are ready, we are prepped. They did have time together in the Lions tour, in the Lions camp, but Lions and your own nation are two completely different ball games. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get back up to speed, get into the swing of things, especially after their long break, which is, fully deserved, especially after the long year that they had. But Ireland up against South Africa is going to be a difficult one, because I believe Ireland's going to be their first test. South Africa is going to be Ireland's first test. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. But, we have a couple big teams here. I'm really looking forward to see how Fiji's going to do. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Georgia's going to do. Georgia, in my opinion, is like one of the fastest rising teams. And, they are playing exciting, aggressive rugby. So, yeah, we've seen some changes. And we are more than likely going to be seeing a lot more changes through the November tests, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard fought, and if South Africa can come away with some big wins in France, it's going to be even better. It is really going to be even better. Now, in terms of France, I can't see Antoine Dupont being fit and ready. I think he's probably only going to end up being fit early next year, because he is their poster boy. They are going to want to make sure that he is fully fit, rested, and good to go. So I don't think they're going to want to risk him early. But then, even then, France, they have players like Maxime Lecou, Jalibert, so they got a lot of talent on show. So yes, it is always no, not Jalibert. Why am I thinking Jalibert? I'm thinking 10. So they have some talent, at least Maxime Lecou. The names have completely slipped me now. But minimum Maxime Lecou. I mean, we saw what Maxime Lecou did in the Six Nations. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't think they could have asked for a better replacement to Antoine Dupont than Maxime Lecou. Now, I don't know if Maxime Lecou is injured or not, or what he's currently playing at, but otherwise, I mean, France will still have some serious talent, no matter what position. France is stacked when it comes down to depth. So even if they don't have Maxime Lecou and they need to play, their third, fourth, or even fifth tier scrum half or fly half, they've got a lot in preparation. They have a lot in preparation. And then, you have someone like Biel Biarré, who he's just become the all-time leading try scorer for Bordeaux. And he's, 22 years old? So this guy spends another 10 years there. He's going to make that record near enough untouchable. Like, untouchable. Becoming Bordeaux's leading all-time top scorer at 22. It's like 48 tries. Ridiculous. Madness. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out come the November tests, and who are you most looking forward to seeing play? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.